Alexa's sound off in here.
Okay.
No.
You put on for
Have you been running for a while, have some races under your belt, or maybe looking to cross-train a bit more, or just bored with running and want to try something new? Let's talk runners turned triathletes featuring Amanda Addison.
Hey Wave Nation, and welcome back to the Runway. Today's guest is Midwesterner turned New York City resident, runner, triathlete, marketing strategist, and an all-around cool friend to have. Please welcome Amanda to the show.
Hi.
Hey Amanda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Long time no see. Like I didn't see you last week or something.
You sure?
No, we saw each other recently.
Yeah.
We see each other often.
Every week.
So Amanda is also a member of Addison Runners NYC, and we met probably a little more than a year ago. I think in like October
2018.
Yeah, probably like October 2018 on a Brooklyn run, more than likely.
Yes,
because
I live 2 blocks away from where we used to run.
Yeah, we used to meet at the mixtape shop.
Sincerely Tommy is where we met.
Oh yeah, we met there too.
I was 2 blocks from my house, and that's when Jesse pulled me back into running.
Yeah.
I used to creep by you guys and head to restorative yoga because I had an injury that I was like still kind of getting over, and it would flare up here and there. Nothing was torn or broken, but just strained.
Yeah. So Jesse got you back into running?
Yeah. So if you want me to go ahead and elaborate more on my running journey.
We'll get into that.
So yes, Jesse got me back into running, and so did Josh Orr, who runs trails. So he's a friend of mine. I had ran with Jesse's group.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about you. So where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan to be exact. Shouts out to anyone listening that is from Saginaw, Michigan. And I moved to New York City 8 years ago. I came to go to grad school at NYU. So I studied business and decided to stay.
Okay. So school brought you to New York.
Yes.
And what year did you graduate?
In 2014.
So you've been here about 6 years almost.
8.
8?
I came in 2012.
Oh,
I graduated
okay.
in 2014. So yeah, and I live in Brooklyn.
I'm not the best in that. So
the best borough.
The best borough.
The best.
The Bronx is the best borough.
Not even.
So what part of Brooklyn are you in now?
So I live in Bed-Stuy.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy.
Yes.
And have you always lived in Brooklyn since you've been in New York?
Primarily in Brooklyn, but I lived in Queens and in Briarwood, and then I lived on Wall Street of all things. It was the worst experience ever.
Really?
So boring. In the morning you walk out, everyone and their mom is there, all the tourists, and then by 5 p.m. it's like a ghost town, no one's there. And there was nothing over there at the time. Like the Fulton stop wasn't as built up as it is now with all the shopping centers, so it was nothing.
Well,
and
that
rats.
sucks. That sucks. But you're in Brooklyn now, so that's good.
I love it.
So what do you do for a living?
So I'm a marketing manager for a financial firm, and I help basically grow their customer base. I work in acquisition marketing.
Okay. Do we know what that is? They acquire things.
Acquire customers for their global consumer cards business. So.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit about your running. What year did you start running?
So I've always been an athlete, like even when I was younger, but it was more so a sprinter, and I played soccer. Growing up, those were my sports, and I did field events. But in 2014, I had started thinking about running again for health reasons because my dad had passed away in 2013 of a stroke, and that kind of motivated me to get into distance running. Just, to have more cardio, and I didn't have any health issues, but it was something that made me think more about longevity. You want to live longer, you want to get back into fitness some kind of way, because I kind of fallen out of it. And a friend of mine was a marathon runner and a sorority sister also. And she came to run a half marathon here in 2014, and I went to cheer her on in Queens, and I was just like amazed by how long she ran and just that she had run marathons and can do that. You know, you see celebrities run marathons, you didn't really think about the everyday person that was running it. And I thought, well, if I can run a 5K, I'm sure I can run longer. So
that's how we all start.
that's how I got into it. It was like, and she also motivated me as well. Just like, if you, and she said the same thing, if you can run a mile, you can run a 5K. If you can run a 5K, you can run a 10K, and so on and so on. So that's how I got into it. And then I started running with Nike back then.
Yeah, Nike was the group to run with back then.
Definitely. It was a fun experience. They had everything from speed runs to strength workouts, and so that pulled me back into fitness.
So what kind of sneakers are you running in now?
So I absolutely love New Balance, specifically the 870s V5.
Really?
It's a light stability shoe. It's so much better than when I used to wear these clunky stability shoes that, you know, Jackrabbit claimed I needed, but I don't need a lot of stability.
We all wasted money on shoes like this so-called specialist, and they recommend the wrong shoes.
A PT doc told me that I didn't need heavy stability shoes. I actually need light stability, and so that's my go-to shoe. I love it. I've recommended it to people. It's the best shoe I've ever ran in my life. Like, love them. Want another pair soon. New Balance people, if you hear me.
And you don't hear a lot of people like recommending New Balance. And
no, but a lot of
the
PT doctors now are.
Really?
Yeah, because they've done a lot to improve the sole of their shoe, like just the comfort around your feet. There's no break-in period. Like, you slip them on and you're ready to go.
Interesting, but I'm not trying New Balance.
You're missing out.
So, you don't do a lot of races, right?
No, not exactly. So I like to save up and do like one really big race, which is what I did last year. So last year I actually raced quite a bit. So I went from not racing, and that was my thing, I'm running for health, and then I suddenly wanted to race. Like, I was like, you know, I'm running for fitness, why not get a medal out of it here and there? But I'm not a medal chaser by any means. I like to do fun races. I like to do races that speak to me. So that's my thing. So I'll do maybe 3 or 4 races a year, and that's pretty much it for me.
That's more than enough.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, unless you're doing like 9+1 and getting 7 marathons.
Yeah, then I understand racing like that. But outside of 9+1, there's no need for me to race every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I have other things to do.
Listen, I hear that. I'm over that rat race as well. So you're a seasoned world traveler.
Yes.
So what's your favorite country that you've visited?
That's
so far?
really hard. I often like a lot of places I go to just because I love learning about culture. So, but I would say to date, don't hate me, I'm gonna have to pick 2. I would say Spain. I love the culture.
Oh my god, I love Spain too.
It's beautiful. You know, the cities that I've gone to, so different, and teaches me something new. Madrid is very similar to New York, but still very Spanish, and more so than in Barcelona. Barcelona is sort of like,
aren't they like
United
so
Nations.
different?
They're so
Madrid
different. And Barcelona's on the coast, Madrid is in the center of the country, and both very different, but both very beautiful places. And no matter where you go, the food is amazing. So.
Oh my god.
But
I think the food was. Oh no, the food in Barcelona was so good. The food in Madrid the food is just good in Spain. Period.
Oh my god, San Miguel Market is. I could get lost in there and stay in there forever, and I don't need to go anywhere else in Madrid. I could just go right to that market and get back on the plane. But I would really love to go to a place outside of Madrid called Toledo. And it's where, you know, all the castles are, and where, you know, the wealthy from yesteryear once resided. And so I hear it's just a beautiful, enchanting place to go. So
yeah, I want to go back to Spain. And even Ibiza had good food. And
I haven't been to Ibiza yet.
Ibiza had good food, but like even
I would think it's coastal. Anything on the coast.
But it's like the party, you know.
Yeah.
You would think, but yeah. Oh my god, we had the best like 5-star meal in Madrid, Ibiza. It was just
I'm sure.
Oh my god. People were talking about this meal for weeks after this trip.
What was it?
I don't even remember. Oh my god. They had this ceviche. It was the and I don't like ceviche because I don't like that like raw fishy kind of taste.
Oh, you know what? I'm allergic to fish, but I can eat shellfish. So I've always had shrimp ceviche.
The ceviche, and it was family style. Except your main course was your main course, but all the course before that were family style, and the ceviche was like we had to get extras to pay. It was just so like amazing food in Ibiza. I highly recommend it. And I went in like April, so like the beginning of the season.
See, you got.
So probably like in the summer, it's probably like.
But my second favorite, Morocco, specifically Marrakesh. I only got to go to Marrakesh so far, and another city where the Atlas Mountains are, and I went on a hot air balloon ride. But Morocco, and I know you're going soon. Marrakesh is going to overwhelm your senses. It is so beautiful. The people are beautiful. They're so friendly. The food is good. Just be prepared to be overwhelmed by the beauty of this place.
Forward to
so that's why it's now a tie with Spain. So
good. So I have to get some suggestions from you on where to go.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so let's get into today's topic. We're talking runners turned triathletes. So a lot of people that probably don't know this about me because I don't post about tries much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to be like a hardcore triathlete, like for like quite a bit of years. And you know, I haven't done one since 2016, and I can't believe it's been that long. And that was Ironman 70.3 AC. That was the last try I did in 2016, and I thought it was like 2 years. It has been 4 years,
wow.
Which is unbelievable.
That's a while.
And watching your journey has inspired me to want to get back into triathlon.
You should.
But it's just hard to find the time to do it.
That's the difficult part.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your tri journey. What prompted you to get into triathlon?
So I'd always done those sports separately. I swam, I cycled, and I ran for fitness. And we were coming up on the New York Marathon in 2018, and I thought, why not do a triathlon? Like, you could totally do it if you focus. And at the time, I didn't think marathon running was something that I would embark on. And I thought, that's my marathon. That's more for me, because I can do all three of these sports, and I can combine them and go and compete. It sounded a bit bizarre to me, because I thought, I can't even believe I'm saying this, that I want to do one. Because my thing has always been, I'm not racing for anything, I'm training for life. And so
it's a good motto to have.
I told Jessie, and Jessie Zappo, who is a coach for Adidas runners, for anyone listening, I told her that I wanted to do one the day of the marathon, and she was like, that's so amazing. And she shared she wanted to do one as well someday. And I embarked on this journey to learn more about it. So I asked some people, you know, do you know anyone who's done a triathlon? And Mark Anthony, a friend of ours, for anyone listening, told me that you had. He tagged you in the post that I put up on Instagram, and I was so happy that someone of color had done a triathlon. So I reached out to you, and I'd also researched some statistics, because I thought, well, what am I getting myself into? And I learned that, you know, through triathlete.com, that 1% of U.S. participants are actually black.
I'm surprised it's that much.
Right. And if you think about it, you got to break it down. Like, men traditionally participate in triathlons. So even less than that are black women. And so that motivated me even more to want to do it. And then I learned that, you know, some issues that keep black people from that is socioeconomic and cultural reasons. You know, black people traditionally haven't had the privilege, the wealth, or the culture to participate in that. And I learned that 70% of black people actually know how to swim in the US.
Know how to swim?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised it's that high.
That actually do not know.
That's what, like, not know how to
70% of black people do not know how to swim.
Yeah, okay, that I can believe.
Yes, and that was shocking to me, because I thought, well, I learned how to swim when I was a kid. You know, thankfully a cousin taught me, but...
So did I, but my sister can't swim.
That's interesting. My brothers and I can all swim.
And my husband can't swim either.
Wow.
But our kids can swim. Well, the little one is still learning, but
yeah,
the older one can swim.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know a lot of black people that can swim, which is sad actually, but that's the reality that we live. But I was fortunate enough to go to summer camp every year. It's like sleepaway camp, so that's where I honed my skills. Yeah. And one of the camps that I went to was like when you stay with the families, and they had me in private lessons and diving lessons too. So that's where, you know, I learned.
I was not that fortunate. I got lucky because a cousin worked at a community pool across the street from my house, and he was like our babysitter during the summer.
Yeah.
And It was like, go swim with Derek. Okay, bye.
I got very lucky. I had a really good family in Vermont that I used to stay with in the summer, and yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there aren't a lot of us in the sport, but we'll get back to get to that
a
little later.
Some stats, but.
Okay, so you did your first race this summer, which was the New Jersey Triathlon.
Yes, New Jersey State Triathlon.
How long did you train for that race?
So I started training at the very end of January and had to take a month off because I had a lot of things going on personally, apartment hunting, just a ton of other stuff. I got the flu, of all things, that I hadn't had in years. So I really got back into training in March. Mm-hmm. And so from March until July, up until, the date of my actual race, I was training. Mm-hmm. And I focused my training around the swimming because I could run. I just needed to work on other things. Mm-hmm. And, I could cycle. That wasn't an issue.
See, cycling is the hard part for me.
Really?
Yeah, like the swimming and the running is like the easy part, but the cycling with the switching gears.
The gears, yeah. That can get to you when you're like, but I cycle also just for, commuting, so that really helps me know when to switch gears and things like that. I've cycled since 2016 in the city, so that helped me. But swimming, I had just kind of done recreationally. I had never swam competitively. Yeah. So I reached out to a friend of mine that did, and he was like, I think you're crazy for wanting to do open water so soon. And I said, I think I'll be fine. And he was like, I only swam a short distance. So he was a sprinter in swimming. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a long distance swimmer. So he was like Michael Phelps, basically. Yeah. And I said, okay. He's like, I'll coach you. I'll give you tips, but I think that's wild that and I still did it anyway. Yeah. And, so yeah, I trained from March until July, and it was swimming 4 times a week, running 3 to 4 times a week, cycling 3 times a week, and then in there I had to do strength training. So some days, I woke up at 5. Well, I had to be at training at 5:45, so I woke up at 3:30 and was out the door by 4 o'clock to make it from Brooklyn to Chelsea Pier. So I trained with a tri group. I went and I tried out. I had spent a week. He gave me a week free. He just wanted to see what I could do. So at the end of that week, he evaluated me and he said, I want you to focus your energy into swimming. I think you're good at running. You're good at cycling. You got that, no problem. But you could be a stronger swimmer. And I knew that going into it because swimming has always been like, I'll swim a few laps, jump out. Yeah. So that's where I focused my energy. And 4 months, every day, 5:45 a.m., I was at Chelsea Piers ready to either do sprint work, speed work, to swim.
5:45.
And cycle, yeah.
So you were leaving 4 something.
No, I was waking up at 3:30, and I was out the door at 4 a.m. on the A train every day.
And people don't realize how hard it is to train for a triathlon. It's harder than a marathon.
It's very time consuming.
It's hard because you really have to work out mostly twice a day.
I did, sometimes 3 times a day. Yeah. It was a lot of work to do that, but I was so determined to do it and do it well. Mm-hmm. And it was something new for me. It was fun. Mm-hmm. And I didn't, at first I thought this is going to be a lot of work, but when I realized just how much fun it was, I thought this is, in a way it is better than running to me because you have these 3 things that you have to figure out how to train for. Mm-hmm. And you go from one to the other, and it's just a fun experience. So I trained with Full Throttle, which is a national triathlon winning group out of Chelsea Piers. And it was a great experience working with Scott. It was just, it really blew my mind at just my own abilities. You think that you can't do certain things until you actually go and you do them. But yes, that was the training process for me.
So what was the makeup of that team? Were you the only brown girl in the group?
No, I was not the only brown person. There was a Southeast Asian woman as well as a Latina woman on the team. So the 3 of us were the only 3 brown girls, but I was the only black girl on the team.
And the rest of the team, was it men?
Yeah, men and primarily white. So there were women as well, but more men, of course. And everyone, for the most part, was very friendly, very open, very fascinated that I had joined the team. And I knew because I was the new shiny person, but also the new shiny brown person. So it was like, ooh, what's your story? Where'd you come from? And I had a great time with them.
And you know what? That's just the reality of the triathlon world today because I know. I remember I used to take specifically swim training, and one of the coaches was black. The other two coaches were white. I was the only black girl in the pool, and there was another black woman, Dion, who like kind of got me into the sport. You know, I saw her doing it, and she was my motivation to get in. So it was basically just the two of us, and everyone else was white. And it was another black man, but he was like learning how to swim. You know, so he wasn't like fully into the game yet.
There was a black guy that I met that was also
so it's just not a lot of people of color, black, brown, or otherwise, in the sport of triathlon.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, which is sad, but maybe people can see us and, you know...
And be inspired. I mean, I was definitely inspired by you, so... and one other thing was the open water training, as you know. So to compete in a triathlon where you're swimming in open water, you need to do open water training and not wait until the day of your race, because you could get a shock. You know, everyone's used to seeing that blue line in the pool, and when you're in a lake or an ocean, there's no line to guide you, to tell you when you need to turn, or so you really have to get used to getting a feel of being in that water. So I did open water training with SIBOs. Which it stands for Coney Island Brighton Beach Open Water Swim Team.
Oh my gosh, so you were in like the ocean open water.
Yes, which is probably why I'm immune to getting sick now, because I was swimming in New York beaches every day for 2 months. So, well, not every day, but twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, I would go out and swim in open water.
See, you're good, because we would train like in Long Island. You have the beach side, and then you have the bay side. So we would train on the bay side, and there was no waves. It was just like calm ocean water.
I'm happy I did swim in the ocean and against current, because I was so prepared for that lake. And you, I mean, you were there with me the day of my race when they deemed wetsuits illegal because it was too warm. And I was like, wait, I want my wetsuit. And
because you trained in your wetsuit.
I trained in my wetsuit because you're supposed to, so that, you know, the day of the race, you know how it fits, you know, and also the wetsuit helped. She was floating. And I didn't need it. You know, that was something that was a curveball thrown on me.
It's like a crutch.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? I only trained in a wetsuit as well. And my first half, Ironman Eagleman, was not wetsuit legal either.
See?
Because it was hot as hell that day.
And I really didn't need it.
And that was the first time I was in the ocean. Well, this was like an ocean and a lake that met.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
There was stingrays in that ocean.
Okay, that's not
It was
cool.
crazy, but... Yeah, it wasn't wetsuit, and that was like the first time I swam in open water without a wetsuit. So it's like, if you're thinking of getting into triathlon or you are training, go out in the ocean without your wetsuit, because chances are, if you have a summer race and the water is warm, it's not going to be wetsuit legal.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be shocked getting into that water and swimming 1.2 or 2 point whatever without your wetsuit.
And SIBOs is a great resource to have. I also swim at LIU. Through the TYNA organization. So it's a strict just swimming organization. Very good coaches. You can swim anywhere in the city with that. So, yeah.
So how did your first try go at the New Jersey Triathlon?
I think it went amazing. I raced when New York City canceled their triathlon.
Oh yeah, I remember. Why did they cancel?
They canceled it because of the heat wave. But Jersey was experiencing the same temperatures, if not hotter, that weekend. But Jersey was like, we have a race. Yeah. We're gonna race.
Yeah.
So I still had to go race. So yes, I thought it went great. You were there again. Kim was so sweet to come and support me. I'm used to doing everything on my own, and she ended up asking me a few weeks before my race if I had anyone coming, and you know, my brother had to cancel at the last minute, and so no one could make it, and I was perfectly fine with it. I was ready to go, but just to transition from sport to sport during my race and see someone smiling and cheering me on, that made me feel even more motivated to transition into the next sport and just feel pumped up and ready to go. So
yeah, that extra like boost seeing someone that you know, because you go to these races, you don't know anyone.
Yeah,
triathlon.
You don't.
Unless you go with a team, like you go and you don't know anyone. So it's nice to have someone that's there to support you. So if you know someone that is racing and you're not doing anything that weekend, go out with them and support them at their race.
Please.
Seeing your face after biking a hard however many miles is really going to push someone to keep going and get their race done.
I was going to say my triathlon coach was out there, but I knew I wasn't going to see him because we were all competing at different times based on age and such. So he was out there. I saw him setting up. I said hey to him, but to have someone just personally sitting there cheering.
And I was sitting. I had my chair in my trunk.
Like, I came back from biking, and I was starting to become worn, because at this point I had the sun beating on me for about 30 to 40 minutes cycling. And I come in and I want to throw that bike down and just be like, you know what? This heat is too hot for me to continue racing. And there's Kim sipping a cool drink.
Yes.
So I'm like, yay, Amanda. And I was like, really, Kim?
Listen,
she's like, oh, take a picture. And I look terrible.
Oh my God. Listen, I found me a shaded area.
She did.
I popped up in my chair and I
Wore
sat down.
sunglasses.
Yes, and I made friends with a couple next to me that were waiting for their kids to come in, okay? So, listen, that's what you gotta do. You gotta
but I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was a good time. Okay, so are you considering doing another try?
I would love to do another triathlon. Right now, I don't have the bandwidth to train for another one, but I absolutely loved training for it. And even so, I forgot to mention something when you were asking about just the training process. There was a challenge that I had to get over, which was I had a fear of open water.
Really?
I didn't have a fear of water. I didn't care about swimming, but I always had a fear of, if my feet can no longer touch the bottom of the pool or the ocean, I shouldn't be over there. And so, and this fear came from being 15 and knowing, when I was in high school, we had to take swimming, and that semester, a childhood friend of mine died in our school pool. He drowned. And so from then on, even though I learned to swim at 8 years old, I would never get in open water and swim past my feet touching the bottom. So that was something I had to work on, and I finally just got over it. The fear of open water and deep water all at once. So, but that, I forgot to mention that. I wanted to point that out. But yeah, I would love to do another triathlon. So if I find time this year, I will definitely do another one.
Oh, we need to find another one and do it together.
We should. I would love to do Half Moon Bay in California. I used to live in California, love Half Moon Bay. It's very pretty, and so I would love to do
I'm not down with those ocean swims with waves though. Like, I'm a good swimmer, but like a wave is not going to take me out in this life.
I'm sure you could do it, and I'm pretty sure it happens in April. So we can't do it now because we're coming up on April, but maybe next year to do that one.
Waters.
Okay, we can find one in a calm.
I need a race recap on that swim before I commit to that. Okay, so let's circle back around to Black women in triathlons. So, I mean, I remember right now at this point, there's only one professional Black male triathlete. Max Funnell. And there is a woman, Sika Henry, who is seeking her pro card. But
because Max actually has a pro card, Sika does not right now.
Max is the first professional. She's an elite. She's seeking her pro card. And she actually had an accident, a cycling accident, last year. And she was really badly injured, but she is back to racing right now. So she is
she's a beast.
She is definitely a beast. And she's like the next hope of the, Black people to turn pro in triathlon. And it amazes me that there are there's one Black triathlete, and he's a man, and that's it. There's nobody else.
It really just goes back to what I was mentioning earlier, just about the access, the privilege. Traditionally, Black people have not had the money to be able to do that, or the exposure to, be able to compete in a triathlon. They're very expensive. It's a very expensive sport, by the way.
Listen.
I embarked on this, and I was like, I'm going to do this, and I started looking at the fees just to register, and it was like $300-$400. I was like,
forget about the registration fees, like the gear.
Gear, the training. I mean, you want a wetsuit that's going to run you a solid $200+ dollars. And
then you got to get a wetsuit with sleeves. You have to get a sleeveless wetsuit.
For summer and winter or fall weather, because most people are not racing in the winter. Then you need, if you really break this all down, a tri-suit is going to run you $100+ dollars.
And that's the inexpensive ones. There are ones that cost way more than that.
Yes, and I'm going bottom of the barrel, basic. The top is $80, the bottoms are $80. You may see one for $50, but trust me, that's going to be just a top, a triathlon top.
Oh, listen, $50 is like a bargain, because they're like $80, $90, $100.
Usually that's baseline $80, $90 on up for just the top. Okay, if you get a two-piece, you can get a onesie, that's still going to probably cost you $125.
And that's just your racing suit, okay? You still need clothing to train in. Like, when you cycle, you have to get the shorts with the pad in the butt, because the cycling saddle, that's the seat of the bike, it hurts your butt. Like, you have to have padding, and you have to invest in a better saddle, because the saddle that bikes come with, they're stock saddles, and they're hard as hell. My saddle, I have a Cobb saddle, I think it cost me like $200 for the saddle, after I already spent like $2,000 on my bike. So I had to upgrade the saddle.
And let's not get into pedals and cycling shoes.
You need pedals, you need shoes. I changed my bar tape. Like, you need, okay people, bikes don't even come with bottle cages to put your water bottle in.
No.
You have to buy
you get a bike and
two bottle cages for the inside of your bike. And some people even put bottle cages on the back of their bike.
And sometimes on the top, just to be able to grab it off quickly.
Then
I was fine with mine being on the bottom.
You have to buy a bike bag that sits in front of you on the bike to hold all of your snacks, your nutrition, everything like that.
Don't forget the tool bag, just in case your bike breaks down in the middle of a race.
You need a tube, you need air, you need a helmet. And you can't have any old helmet, okay? No. You need a fly helmet with the visor on it and all that good stuff. You just...
Not the mushroom.
Listen, triathlon is expensive. It is
very expensive sport to get into.
Expensive.
Hence why you don't see a lot of black people in that sport.
Exactly. And then your bike. I mean, I started out with a road bike. No. I started out with a hybrid.
Yeah. So for anyone listening, a hybrid is like the basic bike you see people cycling around with, not a fixed bike.
Like straight handlebars.
With the straight handlebars. But if you're going to compete and you want some speed behind you, you would like to, it's ideal to have a road bike to start out with.
A road bike
faster, it's lighter. You want a carbon and aluminum bike.
Yeah. Because
a fully carbon bike is very expensive. So if you can get carbon and aluminum, that's better than a hybrid bike.
Oh, so. it's a world. I did my first try, but it was a short little sprint try on that hybrid, and everyone was flying by me. I said,
of course.
I said, this can't be life.
Being on a hybrid is very close to being on a city bike. So anyone who's ever used a bike from a bike share program or a city bike in New York City, it's like you're cycling on a brick.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere, so.
Yeah, and then I upgraded to my road bike, and people were still passing me. I'm like, what is going on here?
I mean, you're the fancy one over here with like your triathlon bike. Actual.
I have to get a tri bike. But get this, and then you have to.
It's like $2,000 plus, by the way.
And my bike is one of the cheaper ones. People pay $5-10 grand for a bike.
Yes, I know.
My first car cost $900 a year.
I will never own a tri bike. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm all set.
And then you get new wheels. You need the wheels that sound like to make you go faster. And it's a very expensive sport. And that tri bike that I haven't ridden since 2016 is just sitting in a corner collecting dust. So
gotta whip it back out. It's time.
I know.
It's time.
It's definitely time to get back out into the sport. So, what do you have upcoming? Running race-wise.
So running race-wise, I have the Boston 5K, which happens during the week of the marathon, the Boston Marathon.
That?
Yes, I ran it last year on a whim, so I actually wanted to race. Was in a meeting at work and couldn't get a bid last year because it sold out so quickly. And I just happened to go and cheer with friends, and when I walked in the day of the race, some coaches from Addison Runners LA said, "Hey, are you racing today?" And I said, "No," and they were like, "Do you want to race? We have a bib." And I was like, "Thanks, I will do it." And I just happened to dress that day to cheer in run clothes. So, you know, it goes back to the whole stay ready thing. I was ready to run a 5K because I do that just in general. So I ran it last year and I wanted to do it again. It's a fun weekend, so decided to run it again, and I'll be doing that. I'm also training for the Brooklyn Half Marathon. I've always wanted to run that race. So that
was my first half. Wait, was it my first or my second? I think it was my first. It could have been my second.
Okay.
But it's a good first one to do because it's pretty flat.
Good weather.
Except when you go through Prospect Park. It's like
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, a few hills in there. But it's not the terrible start that the New York City half has.
Yes. On the Manhattan Bridge?
No. It starts in Prospect Park now.
Oh, I thought they started on the Manhattan Bridge now.
No, it's not in Prospect Park because you start on a hill.
Oh.
Yeah, you start on that back hill, and it's horrible. It's horrible. But
Gosh.
Brooklyn Half starts outside on the Eastern Parkway.
That works for me.
Yeah, and you run around, and then you run into the park by like Mount
Down
Gray.
Ocean.
Yeah, you come out of the park and go down Ocean, and then it's flat after that. So
works for me.
yeah, I think Brooklyn Half is a really good race for your first half marathon. I think you'll have a good time.
I'm excited for it, you know.
Yeah.
So this will be my first half marathon,
Yes.
and we'll see. But I'm still looking to do another triathlon.
Yeah.
That's my sport. I think that's me.
I love it too. I just don't like getting my hair wet. You know, typical black girl.
I'm a black girl, and I don't care about getting my hair wet.
I don't, and even though I keep my hair in twists, like it gets fuzzy when it gets wet. That's why I don't like.
I don't care.
Look,
Just throw it in a bun.
I'm putting it in the
Brush
universe.
it up.
I'm gonna get in the pool this week.
I love to swim. I
Me
love
too.
water.
I love swimming too, but it's just like I'm such a girl, and I don't want to.
I just hate the process of having to pack so many things when you go swimming, because you need dry clothes, you need a bag for your wet clothes. You have to. It's a process when you go swimming, but
it is a lot.
that's what I hate about it. But I don't care about getting my hair wet.
I know. I do. So how's your training going for Brooklyn Half?
My training is going well. No injuries. I feel myself getting stronger. You know, things that I felt I couldn't do before, or felt more challenging before has become easy. Like I run 6 miles no problem, versus I would say, you know, maybe when I got back into running in 2018, to run a 6 mile, you know, training run would be like, I could feel it. I felt really tired. But yesterday I ran the 6 miles and went back out after showering and good to go.
That's how you know you're getting, you know, into better shape, and you can just go out and run 6 miles no problem.
And that was cool. I took a walk after that. I was out and about running errands, so definitely feel stronger there. And just, I know a lot of training that happened last year prepared me for this too as well. So it's going well.
Are you swimming at all?
I swim here and there when I can. So the last time I swam was in February, so not that long ago.
Yeah.
But I don't swim nearly as much as I did last year, and I would love to, but I just don't have the time.
I know. Time is like the killer of all things.
Yeah. But whenever I can get in the water, I may do it this week. So, but I have been cycling whenever I can, just to not lose that stamina. So I'll hop on the bike. Like I biked to strength training the other morning, and you know, biking over the Williamsburg Bridge is enough training within itself.
Yeah,
and especially with headwinds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that entire bridge is an incline until the very end when you're coming into Manhattan. But yes, when I can, I try to swim and cycle.
So you thinking about New York City Marathon at all?
I don't know. I don't really know. We'll see.
You should think about it. You know people that can probably get you in.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it's in the cards for me this year.
Training starts in the summer. You have time to think about it.
We'll see.
And it's the 50th. This is a hot ticket. Hot ticket.
We shall see. Jury's still out on that. So
I know. You should do it. Think about it.
I'll think about
Think
it.
hard about it, because it's a good. Well, it's hard. I'm not gonna tell you that.
I know.
You know, it's
I
hard.
believe it.
It's hard, but it's like a good first one to get under your belt, and this year is a special year, so I think it will be good for you to do it.
We'll see.
Okay, so I want to thank Amanda for being on the Runway podcast, one of my first guests on the show.
Woo!
Yeah, so we see each other often, so we'll see. You might see her on my blog if you follow the blog, and yeah. So thank you again.
No problem.
And
You're welcome.
We will
Thank
chat
you.
again soon.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Be sure to subscribe to The Runway on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review of the show on Apple Podcasts. It would really help me out. If you are a runner that has a story to tell and you would like to be on the show, you can email hello@therunwave.com or send us a DM on Instagram to The Runwave. See you next time.